Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Do I have a motion to go into open? Mr. Gertley? Second, Mr. Dancino. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in executive session for approximately 60 minutes. And we went over two items. One was, number one would be matters of attorney-client privilege. And we added, our second one was for personnel. No action was taken. Okay, we're going to first start off with our first public participation portion of the evening tonight, where I would like invite anyone from the public to come up and speak on agenda items only, that are items that are on this agenda. If you have any questions or comments, please come forward, state your name, address, and what agenda item you'd like to speak on, and you'll have approximately 3 minutes, a maximum of 3 minutes for your statement.
Jacob Figueroa, 6th Closure in Roosevelt Park. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, students, little kiddies, human beings, members of the board, good evening.
Good evening.
Page 5, item 10. Two people mentioned at the high school, School of Rock Club. That is the volunteer that follows. What's the volunteer?
The volunteer role, and correct if I'm wrong, Mrs. Garcia, the volunteer role is someone, when they say that they're volunteering, we put them on the rolls, and actually we pay them $1, I believe.
They volunteer, they talk. No,
Okay. As opposed to, the $1 was for the assistant.
no.
They're just strictly volunteers, then, thank you.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Graham.
Hi, Matthew Longing, 245 Mickey Avenue. I have one quick question and one slightly longer question. One is about executive session. When you say that you discuss matters of attorney-client privilege, does that mean that you're discussing it as a legal concept, or the things you are discussing are covered by attorney-client privilege?
It means that the board is asking for legal advice or guidance on a matter, and then that guidance puts them under the attorney-client privilege exception to go into executive session.
Okay, that's what I thought. It just sounded a little bit strangely worded as matters of attorney-client privilege. The other question I had was about item 26. It's on page 11, the curriculum. Is this a document that includes the entire curriculum for the whole?
It is a document, it's in the central office, it's open record, so if you want to.
Is it on the website? Or has it been
It will be
publicized?
eventually on the website.
But not until it's adopted.
Okay. It will eventually get to the website.
When the board adopts policies, they're read 3 times before they're adopted, right?
Yeah.
But curriculum
It
doesn't
doesn't matter.
treat it differently?
It's different than the process.
Okay, well, I do look forward to seeing it publicly available. Thank you.
Diane Mahoney at 38 Colfax Manor. And just to continue on with the curriculum that's on page 11, I noticed this is talking about PE, STEAM technology curriculum, science curriculum with phonics, and I saw there is also writing curriculum and new math curriculum posted on the website. But I don't see anything for reading curriculum, gifted and talented curriculum, so it does seem like there are some gaps in curriculum.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. They all will be on the website. If you do want a copy, certainly you go to the curriculum office and you can provide it.
Okay, because I did contact the curriculum because I was not provided with any curriculum.
Okay. You can contact my office.
All right, thank you.
Right.
Mr. President, what was the last one? It was writing and, sorry, what was the second one?
Reading, gifted and talented. Diane.
Thank you.
Okay.
Soil Cares on 150 Berlin Street. Item number 35. I just wanted to confirm, or just the presumption is that this will be used in cases of conflict with our attorney's office, correct?
That's correct.
And just 36 for a matter of protocol. It will be formalized tonight. We finally approved the board docs, or pending a vote, I guess, right? It is, but we'll find out.
Correct.
Okay. And this is the $10,000 one, not the
That's
Pro
basic-
Plus.
The basic.
Okay.
And,
And if adopted, is there a time frame for, I guess it's just based on,
yeah, we have to schedule training if it does get approved.
If it gets
so
approved.
Sometimes that could be.
okay. Thank you very much.
Seeing there's no one else, we'll conclude the first public participation portion of the evening tonight. And now we'll go on to committee liaison reports. Does anyone have a report they'd like to speak?
I don't have a report, just to let everybody know that tomorrow at 3:30, the facilities committee will be meeting at the high school to go over the STEAM addition to the high school.
Just two things. I attended the Rosa Park Middle School PTA meeting last Monday. Looks like we got some new sixth grade parents. It looks like in the past meetings, the size of the folks came double. It's nice to see. I hope they keep coming back. And it was actually warm last week. Last week was hot last week. And then just a little plug here. Next week, fire trucks will be coming to the schools. Remember, it's fire prevention week. Change the batteries. And we got some good goodies for the kids that get out this year. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Segura. Mr. Harms, just to go back to that, a meeting tomorrow at 3:30. That's where the Mr. Resney and the high school students will be presenting.
Right, to the committee, and then we'll bring it to the board once we, it's going to the committee, yes.
Right, it's going to the committee.
Yes.
Yep, just to say that it was staff and student generated these ideas and these projects, and we're very excited to hear about them as well. Thank you, Mr. Harms. Anyone else?
Mr. President, I have two reports for you.
Mrs. Powers, good evening.
Good evening. I listened to the mayor and council meeting, and they spoke about both days going to be October 18th for the east side and October 19th for the west side of town. The Casano Center is hosting a Halloween party on October 28th from 2 to 6. This year, we are very blessed to have the 100-year football game between Roselle Park and Roselle, and it will be a home game, and they're going to be selling T-shirts at different locations. On October 16th, the library is holding a crafting for a class, so please stop in and join them. And I also attended the Union County Consortium dinner where our own library staff member, Kit Rubino, was honored as Library Staff Member of the Year. So we are very, very proud of her. Also, there are 25 students who were honored at the council meeting for their outstanding achievement in the STEM competition. Lastly, Meridia had their groundbreaking ceremony last week on the 28th for the start of their luxury apartments. I was honored and excited to attend that event. I also attended a workshop for the Union County School Board Association on September 7th. And what that workshop was that it focused on communicating with the public. So they had 3 superintendents represented from Springfield, Plainfield, and Linden school districts, along with the president of the New Jersey PTA. Karen Cooper from Plainfield School District suggested that the board have a community liaison to help get information out to the parents and residents, as we already utilize social media and our website along with email blasts She also suggested that we submit articles to local papers and News 12. She said it was really important that we write our own articles and submit it with pictures, because nowadays the papers don't want to print it unless you actually write it yourself. So she suggested that we do that. Karen also suggested holding PTA and PTO roundtable events, or specifically inviting the PTA and PTO president to attend each board meeting. Danny of the Linden School District spoke on the importance of crisis situations. The superintendent and board president should be the first to get the information out to the public. That is so the information is all factual. We need parents to have accurate information about what is directly happening with their children. It is important to conclude when the next update will be given, if any. A staging area should also be set up where the parents can go, such as the football field. Once the police arrive on site, we are to deter any questions and updates to them. Michael Davino from Springfield also spoke on the crisis situations. He said it is important to confront the truth. So in other words, if there is a breakdown in the system, that we need to take responsibility of that breakdown to the parents and explain how it will be changed so that it will not happen again in the future. Though we need to use social media to get accurate information out there, be careful, because there are people out there who write anything inaccurate just to so-called stir the pot. That can leave parents and students nervous. Rose from the New Jersey PTA, she is the president, spoke on how important it is to have a good relationship with the PTA and PTOs in our district. Sometimes the PTA and PTO presidents are the first to be contacted by the parents during a crisis. So we need to attend their meetings and to always invite them to attend ours. It is important to make them feel welcome. Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my reports.
Thank you, Ms. Powell. Anyone else? And now we'll move on to the superintendent's report. Good evening, Mr. Rito.
Good evening, Mr. Miller. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. Tonight, I see some of our staff and our teachers, I see some of the parents here, and some of the students. I do have a prepared statement, and I think I know why you're here, and I just wanted to read it all to the public. And I do have other items that I would like to also add. The negotiated collective bargaining agreement stipulates that teachers are to receive 7 preparation periods of 30 minutes each per week. A teacher preparation period is one which the teacher is not assigned to any other duties. So there are 30 minutes, 7 periods of 30 minutes per week that we have for our specials. However, having said that, the board will continue and will continue to explore additional options for art opportunities for the benefits of our students. So I just want to make sure that the public knows that the board will continue to explore options to have the students receive additional art opportunities. I just wanted to mention a few things that have been going on in the district. I want to congratulate the principals and the staff on very successful back-to-school nights. They were all well attended. I did make some of them, not all of them, and it was wonderful to see the parents and the teachers explain the agendas and the schedules for the year. It was wonderful. Week of Respect is on the way. Activities throughout the week, classroom lessons, counselors' activities, some assemblies are taking place in some of the buildings. So again, congratulations to the staff on that. This year, I made a little bit of a change with the superintendent's chat. I asked the principals to please send me the schedules for PTA and PTO meetings, and the principals will work with the presidents, and that will begin in October. As a matter of fact, I will send it out to the parents Aldina, I have scheduled for November 6th to attend the PTO meeting. Robert Gordon, November 29th. Sherman is to be announced yet. I believe it's going to be in November, but I will definitely get that out to the parents. The middle school will be October 30th, and the high school will be November 20th. So these are meetings where I will be speaking to the parents, and if any parents have any concerns or any questions, they could be certainly have the opportunity to do so there. The high school media center has begun the renovation process. Right now, it's completely empty, and if you see it, you would not think that things are going to happen. However, very soon, we will see a media center that represents 21st century learning with real makerspace area and modern use of technology as well. The annual high school career fair financial aid night is slated for October 25th. We do encourage all the parents of students that are close to attending college to please attend. It's a very important night. Park scores are in. Parents will be receiving them, and we will have a presentation. Mr. Sal will be presenting the scores at the next board meeting, which is October 17th, here at Aldine. So please come out. You can hear. We've been analyzing the scores. Again, our ELA scores continue to move up in the numbers for the percentage. Math scores will continue to work, and it looks like it's going up as well. So that is my report for tonight, and I want to thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Guido.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I have a question. I have a question for the superintendent.
Sure. Mr. Sager.
Last year, when the curriculum committee met, we discussed having the pacing guide online. Has that been placed online yet?
Some of it, not all of it, Mr. Sekou. If you go to the curriculum section of the website, you will see some of the elementary curriculum and pacing guide that's already been on.
Thank you.
And again, it will continue to add more and more as the first half of the year continues to move.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Sekou. And now we're on to policy on the agenda, where I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 1 through 7. And these are all district policy adoptions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 adoptions. Do I have a motion? Ms. Powers, second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Sekou. Are there any questions or comments? Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Vice President Harms,
Yes.
Mr. Bowman, Mr. Cancino,
Yes.
Mr. Gerton,
Yes.
Ms. Powers, Mr. Sekou,
Yes.
Mr. Signorella,
Yes.
Mr. Vita,
Yes.
President Miller.
Yes.
On roll call, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And now we're on to personnel, where I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 8 through 16, 8 being district substitutes, 9 being the Anthony Signorella Youth Program Counselor, 10 being additional high school and middle school extracurricular advisors for the year 2017-2018, 11 being additional sections, 12 being breakfast supervisor personnel, 13 being lunch supervisor personnel, 14 being change of assignment, 15 being maternity leave of absence request, 16 being maternity leave of absence extension request, 17 being fall 2017 sports physical personnel, 18 being parent workshop for presenters, and 19 staff development. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Mr. Harms, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Vita. Are there any questions or comments? Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Vice President Harms,
Yes.
Mr. Bowman, Mr. Cancino,
Yes.
Mr. Gerton,
Yes.
Ms. Powers, Mr. Sekou,
Yes.
Mr. Signorella,
Yes.
Mr. Vita,
Yes.
President Miller.
Yes.
On roll call, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And now we're on to education, where I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 20 through 26. 20 being 2017-18 education program, 21 being educational trip requests, 22 being Title I parental involvement policies and parent compacts 2017-2018, 23 being professional development plan, 24 being mentoring plan, 25 being workshop attendance request, and 26 curriculum adoption. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Cancino, second.
I'll second.
Mr. Burton, are there any questions or comments?
Yes, actually, I have one. Mrs. Gershio, item 21I, is this normally, so is this for the band members? I think I've seen it before under their band competition. It's under field trip, just curious.
Yes, it's the band, and I'm not sure if it's a repetition of what was submitted previously for their competition, or if this is in addition to that list.
Okay, but it is
But it is for the band members,
Yeah.
the marching band, yes.
Okay, all right, fair.
Anybody else? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Those items are passed. Now we're on to business where I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 27 through 35. 27 being approval of bills, 28 being nursing services plan, 29 being transfers, 30 being approval of minutes, 31 being monthly certification, 32 being district contracts/agreements, 33 being use of buildings and grounds, 34 being violence, vandalism report, 35 being special conflict counsel. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that.
Mr. Burton, second? I second. Mr. Harms, are there any questions or comments?
Mr. President, I would like to abstain from number 30.
So noted, Mr. Cancino.
Mr. President, I need to abstain on 30, I guess it's A, August 22nd.
So noted. And I'm going to abstain from 30D. I'm sorry, about
I
this.
have to abstain from number 30, August 22nd.
Anyone else? All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Those items have passed. And now we're on to item 36, a board docs contract. This is to approve a contract with Emerald Data Solutions Incorporated to provide a proprietary database service known as Board Docs or Board Docs Pro at a cost of $10,000. Do I have a motion? Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Burton. Are there any questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. President. I'll be voting no to this. At this time, I don't know that the board needs to do this, and I've heard that it would be paperless, but in reality, it just comes down to 9 packets that might go home to somebody's, because we still have to print out the agenda for everybody in the audience. So at this time, I'll be voting no.
Okay, and please note that when we do the roll call, thank you, Mr. Harms. Mr. Powers?
I just wanted to clarify the cost on that. Is it 10,000 or I thought it was 9,000?
No, it's 9,000, it's 1,000 initial fee that they charge us for the first year. So it is 9,000 every year after that.
But this is a case that it's not just a matter of it being less on paperwork. It is us being able to do the different committees, correct?
Yeah, the basic package that we're getting does not have that access to the funds. It's more of a paperless. You do have a tablet that you have with you, and that's the basic.
Mr. Garrido, I
Yes.
don't want to speak for Mr. Cancino, the chairperson of the committee, but if I recall from the presentation that we've given twice, this does not have the committee notes in this version. And the reason was, is I think the board thought it was kind of more of a try it, see if it works before you go for the additional, I think it was $4,000 or $6,000, I don't know. You know, it isn't just about eliminating paperwork, it's also about making the agendas and videos of the sections and meetings more accessible. But it's also about the search functionality to ensure that when the board is considering, or for that matter, our administration sitting at this table is considering things on the agenda, they have the ability to look in that metadata database, look at the database based on metadata for searches to see what other school districts in New Jersey are doing, which is an ancillary benefit. I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson?
That can be done if you wanted to check on it. You can just like Google it and see.
So, you know, so that, what was the Powers that answers your question?
So it is a case that we would be able to go to other districts to look up information. Really basic.
Yes.
So long as we accept that. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else for a question or comment? Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Vice President Harms,
No,
Mr. Bowman, Mr. Cancino,
Yes.
Mr. Gerton,
Yes.
Ms. Powers,
Yes.
Mr. Sekou,
Yes.
Mr. Signorella,
Yes.
Mr. Vita,
Yes.
President Miller.
No.
On roll call, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Now we're on to continuing business. Does anyone have any continuing business that they speak on? Seeing there's none, how about new business?
So,
Seeing there's none?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr.
so as we're sitting in here, maybe I missed it last year, or maybe I missed it in the presentation, but there's a banner over here about from the character.org here, about a national winner for our elementary school. I don't know if anybody on the board has the answer, or the superintendent, or I see some teachers from out there, maybe they can explain what that is. You know, I love to hear the positive things about our school system.
I'm sure Mrs. Scully will be able to give a full report when she's here at the next meeting that's at Alvin, but it is based on something that we did last year with our students that we're continuing this year. But
Actually,
give her a heads up.
Yes, Mrs. Kelly, I think everybody has a plan to.
Well, you know, I'm sitting there, it's great, you know?
Good catch, Mr. Gerton. And we can't wait to hear from Ms. Scully on the 17th of October. That's great. And now we'll go to the second public participation portion of the evening tonight. If you'd like to speak on anything, please come forward, state your name, address, and what you'd like to speak on, and you'll have 3 minutes for your statement.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Donnelly. I live at 345 East Lincoln Avenue. Mr. Garrido, I want to thank you very much for reinstating district chorus last year, because I know that was a concern of mine, so I'm glad to see you back. I do have several concerns tonight, especially for my 5th grader who attends Sherman School. So she started school this year and, still not being able to switch classes, especially for math and language arts, which was so very important to all 3 of my daughters. I have a high schooler, a middle schooler, and someone in Sherman School. And they were all tracked based on their ability. And especially for math, this really worked wonders for all of my kids. I have one who extremely excels, one who's right in the middle, and one who struggles. And again, I really feel this is a disservice to our students not being able to switch for these classes. Now, I know the kids see it as a social thing. They want to see their friends. They want to see a new teacher, a new face, a new set of 4 walls. But I'm looking at it from an academic point of view, and I just don't think it's really working. It's just my opinion. So now my 5th grader comes to me, and it's the first day of school, and she goes, "Guess what, Mom? We don't have as much art, we don't have as much music, and we don't have as much gym." And she said, "You know why? Our teacher told me," it wasn't her teacher, and I won't say names, but it was explained to her that learning doesn't take place in any of these subject matters. So, of course, that made me extremely upset. So I did speak with Mrs. Blum. She explained to me that it's a contractual situation based on the 7th prep periods, that you had to do some modifications to the timing. Well, I'm sure there must have been a plan B somewhere in your plans. Because really, 10 minutes is a lot of time to take away from these special classes. Art, especially, you have to set up, you have to clean up. It's all part of the process, teaching these kids to be responsible. Music, the kids learn to read music in 3rd grade. And if you learn to read music in 3rd grade, you're exercising both sides of your brain, and you become better in math. You become better in reading. In gym class, we don't even meet the state requirements of 150 minutes in gym class. Now, I know you can use recess as gym class. We don't follow the guidelines for that, for the staff to 1-to-1 ratio for the staff to the students. All the students don't participate the way they should, based on the guidelines for gym class. We could use health as part of gym as well. And health, based on my 12 years of Sherman School, has always just kind of been a 15-minute, let's open up the workbook and do a few pages. And, you know, it's kind of like a group effort for health class. So it wasn't really a given slotted amount of minutes. In addition to that, not only do they learn sportsmanship and everything else, gym has always been a topic of conversation at our house because Mr. Carroll thrives on trivia. I can regale you on the amount of trivia we have learned from Mr. Carroll throughout the years. So now, I'm sorry, but we don't have enough gym, we don't have enough art, we don't have music, we don't have enough computers, and now, not only do we not have enough computer minutes, we don't have enough computers, period. There's 12 computers in my daughter's class. And the STEM and the STEAM, it sounds great on paper, but how are you going to apply this in real life when there's only 12 laptops in my daughter's 5th grade class? It's a problem. They have to share laptops. In order to share laptops, they don't have the right tools to do the job. Mrs. Doherty's got a wonderful curriculum. She's got this great architecture program she wants to run with the kids, which is wonderful, especially Mr. Garrido, because you want to retain your high school students and have them go to the high school and not, you know, send them off with our tax dollars on the school buses to go to Magnet or to go to Kent Place or St. Peter's Prep, where unfortunately a lot of our brilliant kids are going. So there go your test scores, there go your test dollars, and our retention is out the window. And I really don't know how to make everyone happy. I don't know how to make, and I understand there's a contract, but I'm sure there's got to be some wiggle room somewhere to give the teachers back their minutes and to get, to give the students back their 10 minutes and give, you know, the teachers the prep periods they deserve.
Thank you, Mrs. Dowell.
You're welcome. Oh, and my other question is, for you as Board of Education members, can I just ask by a show of hands, how many of you have actually observed any classes? And I'm not saying for class visitation or PTA or book fair, things like that, but have any of you ever exercised your rights as Board of Ed members just to go in and sit? Like and observe a class and see what's going on? So can I ask to see by a show of hands, has any one of you done that?
Does that mean by also participating in that class as well?
No, to actually observe and see what's going on. I mean, well, I know you run the science fair at school, but I'm not talking that. Like would you go to Aldine and observe and see what's going on? Because what's good in paper really isn't good in real life. Excellent. Well, I wish it would be more often, because then you can really see how what's written on paper is not feasible in the classroom. And it upsets me, it upsets my kid, and I don't know. I feel so deflated lately. And I wish there was some kind of, you know, remediation or some kind of plan we could come up with to make everybody happy. So I hope you would consider reinstating the 10 minutes back to the children's program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Diane Mahoney. And I came up earlier just to try to start the conversation about the Gifted and Talented program, but that is my main concern at this point. I am aware, as a teacher myself and then as a parent, that Gifted and Talented programs are required in the schools for all grades that the district teaches. So in our district here, that would be K through 12. My daughter has now been at school since September 8th when we started until now, and she has yet to see the creative thinking Gifted and Talented teacher. And there has been absolutely no evaluation process to determine that she does not qualify or that she does. And so while it may come to the end, come to the point that she does not qualify, maybe she doesn't get those services, but she was getting it in kindergarten and first grade in the creative thinking class, and she loved it. And we have a great rapport with Ms. Turpinning, and we adore her, and my son is now in kindergarten, and he loves working with Ms. Turpinning and what is happening there. So to see that my daughter Callan now does not get anything like that is very disappointing. And when I spoke with Mr. Salvo, he told me that creative thinking is what happens, and that is the curriculum for kindergarten through 2nd grade. So it's nice, again, on paper that sounds great, creative thinking for all students in kindergarten through 2nd grade, but Ms. Turpinning is not coming to the classroom. So it's not happening. And then Mr. Salvo told my husband that creative thinking is now being embedded into all lessons by the classroom teacher. that is not a gifted and talented program based on our state requirements. So, yes, of course, I want all teachers to make kids think creatively, of course. But what about guiding those gifted students to reach their potential and become the people who will change the world by preventing it in second grade, with them what happens?
Ms. Molly, thank you for sharing with me. Why don't you call my office, and I would certainly would like to set up an appointment with you, and we can discuss this in more detail and come up with something.
Ms. Mahoney, so you're saying your daughter wasn't tested yet?
There's been nothing.
Or there's not been out, and I was saying there's a test coming
I
out?
was told that the test would now happen at the end of second grade, so they could participate in smaller in third grade, is what was told to me, but it was a whole year wasted. And then I know Vance is going to first grade next year, and then I'll have 2 years wasted.
Thank you.
What's it called?
It's at Aldine.
Aldine?
And I did speak with another parent from Sherman, and she said her daughter also is not seeing this children in second grade as well.
Seeing there's no one else, we'll close the second public participation portion of the evening. Okay.
Kathy McDonald, 320 Spruce Street, Roselle Park. I thought I was going to be silent tonight, but since the message has been that the contract prevents the arts from having a longer period, the contract mandates that classroom elementary teachers have 7 preps of no less than 30 minutes. But I just want to go on record that the contract does not preclude administration from scheduling arts, music, or any other class that they want for more than 30 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Amanda Whiteside, 12 East Roselle. I stand in this room right now, and I'm surrounded by art. I'm not sure if that's a targeted approach or if that's just a coincidence. And I know in my own home, we have some artists in our family. On my dad's side, our walls are hanging with art from them as well. And it wasn't until recently that I found out about the changes to the time in the arts programs and music and specials. And I asked my kids about it. So tonight I spoke with Lucas, who's in 5th grade, and I said, have you noticed a change in the time of your arts and music and specials? And he said, yes, it's so much less. We went from 45 minutes or 40 minutes to 30. And I said, well, how do you feel about that? And I just felt like I wanted to come up here and give his comments because he had to go to soccer practice tonight, so he couldn't be here. And he said, okay, so in gym, I wish gym could be 2 hours, of course, time to run around and stuff like that, I understand. He said, in music, sometimes we have to learn songs, and I feel like, we just don't have enough time to practice and really learn the songs that we have to learn. And then he got to art, and he said, when it comes to art, we get in there and we get our instructions, and just when we learn about what we're supposed to be doing, it's time to go. We don't have a lot of time to work on what we're supposed to be working on. So I just wanted to share from my 5th grade student, Robert Gordon, that it is noticed and it is felt by the children. And I just am, curious or just wondering when, all of this gets put into contracts and stuff like that. I do corporate training for a living, so I know how much time goes into explaining to adults, how to set up an activity and then get them started on an activity and then debrief an activity and all of that. So, when it comes to children, the time is needed, especially in these specials. And as much as the education is important, You know, I look around the room at the beautiful artwork that's around here, and it's just something that, you know, I just wanted to share the story of what my son notices. I can't say that my second grader back there notices it quite as much, because I did ask her, but I can tell you that my fifth grader, he notices it, and that was what he shared with me this evening before I came here, so that's all.
Thank you, Ms. Whiteside.
So it occurs at 150 Berwyn Street. For the matter of protocol, Mr. Bowman gave notice of his absence today.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Bowman gave
Yes.
notice of absence, thank you. Directed to board member Powers. What were the dates that you announced for bulk pickup here?
The 18th, and the 19th.
If you could just check that, because I thought it was the 19th and 20th. So just to get that information out correctly. You could be correct, but my understanding is that. With regard to the vote on board docs, board member Harms gave a reason. Just curious why you voted no.
Why I voted no?
Yes.
I voted no because I feel, though I see it as a positive vehicle, I think right now it's kind of putting the cart before the horse. I'm a dinosaur. And I think maybe 10 years from now, there'll be some young folks on this board that's their language that they speak. I mean, not that I'm internet savvy, but, you know, I just think at this point in time, you know, the way we have right now is good. It can get better out, but obviously the issue can be right. I just think, you know, the funds could have been better spent elsewhere, more effectively.
Thank you.
Jacob McGillis, exposure of the name. Page. Mr. Miller.
Yes.
I would like to give a copy of this to Ms. Powers.
A copy
of the ShopRite. They have a program at Box Top, and they're giving away $1 million. Think that she's the only young lady here, and that she goes shopping, and
I go shopping. I go shopping every Sunday morning. But anyway, I can take a coupon. Is it a coupon?
I would like to let Ms.
Fine.
Powers read it. Or a program. She had a good presentation. She just did a lot of work.
She sure did. Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Miller. Number 14, change of assignment. Employee A. There was no mention of pay. Is this going to be another volunteer? That makes 3 volunteers, not 2 so far.
No, there's no mention of pay because her hourly rate has not changed at all. Her hourly rate is still the same. The only change is the number of hours per day that she is working. She was originally approved for 6 3/4 hours per day. That has now been changed to 7 hours per day.
And I presume that she makes about $450 an hour.
She would love to make that amount of money, but you're off by about $400. Her actual rate would be $15.28 per hour.
And why wasn't it listed here? I wouldn't have.
Because it was listed previously when she was previously appointed. But I will make note of that for the future. If we have...
This is not the first time.
Okay.
Ladies and
We'll make sure we
gentlemen,
put all the information next time for you. Even though it's not a change, we'll put it down anyway.
Not for the 700 dollars. Ladies and gentlemen, in the audience, viewing audience, students, little kiddies, members of the board, good night.
Good night.
Good evening, my name is Claudia Freire for 28 City Avenue. I have a comment. I'm new to all of this. This is my first meeting. And a lot of the things that I've been hearing is kind of news to me. I don't know how I was supposed to find out about the less time that the students are getting. Perhaps I'm not into social media and Facebook, so perhaps it's been posted there. But I still have a basic phone. I moved here to Russell Park years ago, about 11, 12 years ago, because I wanted our kids. I came from Elizabeth, and I'm a graduate of Elizabeth High School. But in the area that we lived wasn't the best, so I said, let me move. So I came to Russell Park. And to find out later on that I kind of heard that if you come from a low-income town like Elizabeth or Plainfield, sometimes those schools get a lot of money or more support from the government or from whoever, and they have more wonderful activities to offer to the children. So I'm like, what did I do? I came to Russell Park looking for something much better. I should have stayed in Elizabeth because they have more things that I guess you're more financially better off. And then now to hear that you're going to take away, even if it's 5-10 minutes, our kids already have less. The way I see it, if they already have less, why even take away even more from them? Now, I see the art around this. This is more of a personal comment. I have a 7-year-old that has an eating disorder. She was hospitalized for a month this year. And art is her world. She loves art. I'm even making a little portfolio at her home because that's all she does. She expresses her eating disorder through art. She would even see herself puking or seeing herself something related to school. And it hurts me to know that the one thing that she loves is even going to be will bring it down to less time. And I didn't know what I'm hearing in this board meeting that was happening at Aldine, or perhaps in the whole school district. And was there like an email, or perhaps because I'm not into social media, that's why I don't know about it. So I would have loved to know, because I would have gotten more parents to come and say, let's do this together, and don't take away. And also I feel kind of like, in a way, it's also penalizing our wonderful teachers. Our teachers work very hard, whether it's art, music, any subject, and what they put in to prepare, they do it out of love. And please don't take away any more than what our kids have. Because in other school districts, let's be honest, because they have the money, they have even more. We might not have it, but then let's not take away the little bit that we have. Especially art and music, because not everybody's academically inclined. And sometimes kids like my daughter find that venue where they're able to express themselves and use as therapy within the school without even the teachers knowing it. Like I never mentioned it to her art teacher that my daughter has an eating disorder and that she uses art as a way of communicating herself. So it's just kind of like a comment, and again, I'm not into social media. How was I supposed to know this information? You see, like, I don't know, and I'm like a little confused. I'm like, do parents know this? And I think it's important that we do know, because, we care about our kids and our, and mind you, I'm sure you're trying your best, so I think it's important that you listen to a parent, and many parents, so they know how they feel, especially that I was not aware of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Claudia.
Claudia. Leslie?
F-R-E-I-R-E.
Quick question. One.
Karen Donnelly, 345 East Lincoln Avenue. Is there anything in the budget to get new computers for Sherman School? Computers, laptops for the computer teacher?
Well, we're actually did add more computers to the elementary level this year.
They just have not arrived yet, but they're on order.
They're on the way. They're coming.
They've been ordered.
Yeah, they've been, yes.
When will they be here, do you know?
They're a little delayed, we're hoping as soon as possible.
Hoping by the end of this month.
Because I know when I order something from Toys R Us or Amazon, I know it's coming September 17th. Is there, you don't have quite an order date for this?
Yeah, we really don't have, but we definitely, we're trying by the end of the month. So-
We can track it so we can find a date for you.
And will that give that the one-to-one ratio that the 4th and 5th graders should be having in the classroom?
Elementary, we can do one-to-one, but it'll be closer to one-to-one grades.
Is that not a state mandate, the one-to-one?
Sorry?
Is that not a state mandate for 4th and 5th graders to have a one-to-one? It's not.
There's no state mandate.
There isn't. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Seeing there's no one else, we'll close the second public participation portion of the evening tonight. Thank you all for your comments.
Mr. President,
Yes.
may I speak for a moment?
I'm sorry?
May I speak for a moment?
Sure.
So I want to, it's good to hear all, from my perspective, it's good to hear all the different opinions in the room and the views. Difficult time our country goes through right now, and it's good to hear the different angles that everybody's coming from. So I just wanted to address Mrs. McDonald. I hope that the statement that Pedro read wasn't, Mr. Guido read, I'm sorry. I hope it wasn't taken by you or any of the members of the public that it was directly related to art, and that the contract wasn't limiting art. I don't believe that's what he read. I don't know that, when I had the opportunity, I guess the last time through the negotiations, to sit on the committee from the board with you.
Mr. Burton, I'm sorry, could you speak into the mic a little
I
bit?
am.
Mr. Seiko, could you lend him your microphone? Go in stereo.
So I can say, I don't think it was the intent of either party.
That one's not on. I don't think it was the intent of either party to limit any programs in the school. It's a fact that there's so many minutes during the day. And I know when we went through many evenings a couple summers ago negotiating, it is a negotiation process. I will say this, and thank you for the time, Mr. President. As a board member, we learn the things too. And you asked the question, do we go into the schools? I personally have never gone into the school when I wasn't invited, whether it was to read for Dr. Seuss Day on March 2nd or any of the other programs there, right? As a board member, our role is for governance as opposed to operational oversight.
If you have that role, you can, as a board member, have that
Understood. I try. I myself don't go into the school. I take that serious, the governance versus operations. I don't want to get involved inside the buildings. I too am a parent though, within the district. Learned of this on Friday, learned specifics of it yesterday. I think it's unfortunate where we are. I think there's a finite number of minutes during the day, but I believe Mr. Garrido's message was that there's some potential opportunities or options that the board will continue to look at, and I think that's the message I'll walk out of here with. And when I say the board, it's the administration with the board's oversight now that we personally that I've learned of it. So whether it's 10 minutes from art, 10 minutes from music, 10 minutes from gym, or 10 minutes from language arts or math, it is, you don't want to cut curriculum. and I've heard what you've said about, with the art having to set up, music, it's the same way. I remember as a kid trying to get musical instruments out of the closet, that was, in elementary school, that was probably 15, 20 minutes. So I appreciate you coming out, I appreciate your voices, I appreciate our staff, coming in support, but, I think we take away and we see what we can come up with as far as some options here that live within the collectively bargained agreement, but at the same time, give our students and our parents what they need and what they've come to appreciate and want from Roselle Park. So.
Thank you, Mr.
Ms. Donnelly, I would like to say that the New Jersey School Board, we are sent to training also, and one thing the New Jersey School Board recommend that we don't go into classrooms. Like he said, we're in a governance role. We're not supposed to go in the classroom and see what teachers do. But overall, what Mr. Gurdon said, I echo that because myself and Mr. Miller are both teachers. We're in schools every day. We know the importance of the art. So whatever we have to do, to just echo what he says, to make some of these things right, we will do it. Again, we are pro teachers. We are pro art. We're in schools every day ourselves, and we feel your concerns.
That's a state recommendation, it's not a mandate.
Correct.
We have that right, unless you can see actually physically what's going on, it's hard to put on paper what the teachers should do and teach and how many minutes is allotted for this and that, until you physically see what they do. I don't understand. You have to keep, it's visual also, it's not really on paper. That's my concern.
But I will say, so I've never been in the classroom. I don't intend to, respectfully, go into the classroom. Being a Roselle Park resident, though, I've never not listened to a teacher when they had a suggestion, okay? So, or an administrator, or a fellow board member. So I try to be open. They're the professionals. I don't know how to run a classroom.
I think if you saw all the time.
The logistics,
I mean, you might not show away that 10 minutes, that's all I'm saying.
We're working towards it.
Yeah, and just to wrap this up, we thank everyone again for coming out, teachers, parents, board members, and I just wanted to say, and Mr. State, being educators as well, we do value the arts, especially arts, music, physical education. I incorporate that in my classroom every day, as I teach every day at my school, and this is disturbing to lose that art, and I hear it every day. I hear it every day from my daughter, not so much more. My daughter in the elementary schools, and we will work to find a solution that will be applicable and helpful and applicable to the parents, but especially to the students, because there are many ways to learn, and there are multiple intelligences, and there are artists out there are singers out there are athletes out there, as well as our writers and mathematicians. So we will look hard at this, and don't think we're taking this lightly. Don't think that we like this, and we want to work for it, and hopefully in the future we'll come up with a viable solution, and in the not so near future. So we're working on it. We're well aware of it. Good evening, everyone, and with that, do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Harms, second? Second. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned, and we'll see you back here to explain that wonderful banner on October 17th. Good night, everyone.